Hello and welcome to my Hellworm video. So this is going to be a single video. I should probably have adjusted my sitting position before I started this, but that's a-okay. This will be a singular video, but there will possibly be some sped up portions in the actual fight itself because this is a rather long fight. My water pump says hello. I don't know if you guys can hear it in the recording, hopefully not because I do edit my audio, but anyway. You must have completed the Get My Stuff Back hunt, which will reward you with a dragon scale found on the corpse of a viral. Now we must take that dragon scale. By the way, you can do this as low as level, I think 55 is the lowest I would ever say you could probably do this at, but it'll be tough at that level. But our destination is Northsward, so we're just going to completely ignore all of these enemies. I'm just going to run through here real quick. Could have started over there, that would have been far more logical, but welcome to me. Not known for my logic. Because it is raining, there is an intite here. Doesn't really matter. Now I will say I am very slightly over the recommended level. The recommended level, as far as I am concerned, or the recommendations I would give, is about level 70. That should be an approximately level appropriate time to fight Hellworm. It won't be easy, certainly. It's basically an endurance test, if anything else, but I would say level 70 is probably a good time to do it. We are about level 80, so a little ahead, but that's okay. Now out here, this is the Northsward, by the way. We're supposed to find, right, nobody can hit these because we all have melee weapons because of reasons, but anyway. Dealt with that problem. Out here, we're looking for windmill number 10, which is probably one of the one that's spinning. Oh, there's two spinning. By God. There should just be a dude out here, maybe because it's raining, there's not a guy out here. I don't know. Pretty sure there's supposed to be a dude out here somewhere. So let's have a, whoa, there it is. Oh, that's windmill number 9. I mean, this is 10? This is 10. Oh, it was right there. Freaking... whatever. Maybe there's something jamming one of the cogs. I'd say you were hibernating, by God. Also, because of noise, I'm gonna momentarily pause the recording. I was expecting to wait like a minute, but like 20 minutes later, here we are, staring at this crafts moogle. Still. What's this? Stands there holding greatsword. Maybe you could put your sword away, Ash? The most terrible worm, which is actually not true. Alrighty, so we now have our key. Actually, is it worth it to just go this way rather than teleporting? I guess it doesn't really matter which way we go at this point, but we have our key now, and the key goes to the door in the Sochin Cave Palace, the northern half of the Sochin Cave Palace specifically. Now, there is a teleport to the Sochin Cave Palace. It goes right to it. In fact, it's not actually very far from the zone we intended to end up in when we get there, but there's the minor problem of actually opening the door that the key is for. In order to open that door, we must get access to that door. And in order to get access to that door, we have to complete a puzzle. This puzzle requires we go through the area in a certain... Oh, I was confused because he's running at me. It requires we go through the area in a certain order, and in that order requires we enter the area from the east, which means we cannot use the Sochin Cave Palace teleport crystal. Because it puts us at the wrong side of the area and screws it up. So you have to come from the Kita Uplands. Kita Uplands, however it's pronounced. Doesn't really matter. You have to come from this way in order to actually do the puzzle correctly. Coming the other way makes it impossible because you just can't go the order it requires. Really didn't take any more time running that way than running back and then teleporting here, but that's okay. Again, I'm just ignoring all these enemies. These enemies are weak. 39, oh no. Fear, etc., etc., I don't care. I'm just ignoring these enemies until we get to the area that we need to go to, which isn't very far. In fact, it should be right after this, right? Yeah, it's right after this area. Please let me through the door. There we go. If there's something I would complain about with FF12, and if you can't tell, I do quite like the game, given my 8,000 hours on it so far. It's probably actually fairly accurate. If there's one thing I would complain about with this game is the fact that you can't interact with anything if there is a full bar next to your character's name, or if they're pulling out or putting away their weapon. And with spells, that bar stays next to your name for unnecessarily long after you finish casting. So you can't do anything until that bar goes away, and then they put your weapon away, and it's just, it kind of gets on you after so much time spent, you know, waiting for that bar to go away. So, the area we desire is up here in Destiny's March. You must enter by the way, that's where we're going, Hall of the Wrath God. You must enter Destiny's March from the east side over here. As you can see, if we come from the Sochin Cave Palace teleport right there, there's no way to get to the east side, so it screws up our requirement right away, which is no good, so you do have to come from the south. Then we'll make our way over here. Hopefully this path is open. It is indeed. Can't remember how the waterfalls shift around when you open the southern door. Alrighty, so from here, whenever we're done killing these people with gratuitous amounts of damage, we enter from the east. And then we go in a clockwise path. Jesus Christ. We go in a clockwise path through only the doors labeled Door of Hours. No other door can be touched in this entire process. If you touch another door, it completely breaks it and you've screwed up everything. So, make sure you only touch the appropriate doors and make sure you are going clockwise. It's very important. Don't go counterclockwise, don't go willy-nilly. Don't backtrack. You only go in one direction and one direction only. Nothing else matters. Again, this is something you could do as early as probably 55, but it would be very difficult and very slow because you're going to have to, at that level, you're going to have to use 2 healers. There's no way around that. Like 2 dedicated healers, not just 2 people that can heal, 2 people who have primary focuses of healing. This guy out of the way. Alright. So this should be the last door. There you go. So at this point it doesn't matter. We've opened the door is unlocked in the distance, it doesn't matter where we go anymore. So, the Hellworm is a super boss. It is one of only 2 super bosses in the entirety of this game. The other one being Yiazmat. It functions similarly to Yiazmat. If you leave the arena, its health will stay where it is. So long as you don't leave the arena for too long, it will start regenerating health if you're outside of the arena for too long. It also has a lot of health, as you'll see when we get in there. It's a relatively simple fight. more endurance than anything else, but it is a relatively simple fight, by the way. These Abystials are still low level. I don't really know why, but they are. The big thing to keep in mind is that it will change its attack pattern as its health drops. For most of the start of the fight, it's not going to be doing very much. It's just going to be normal attacking, and that's about it. It will add on random level 3 black magic spells. All of the black magic spells, by the way. So do bear that in mind. And every, I think, so much health it loses, like 20% or something like that, it'll use Judgment, which is a holy based attack, which is capable of inflicting stop and damage and stuff like that. Who would have guessed it does damage? I know. It also has Rake, it also has Break Art Pentagram, so if you summon something, be prepared for it to take a boatload of damage suddenly and die. It's a thing that happens. But anyway, say hello to Hellwyrm. It's a rather fancy worm. So, step 1, we're going to change who our partner, by the way, look at his health bar. We're going to change who our party leader is. We're going to be controlling Penelo and keeping her away from Ash as best we can here. Hellwyrm is weak to holy damage. So if you have someone capable of wielding holy weapons, it's best to equip them with it. For instance, Excalibur over there is... Oh, this is also a thing that occurs. Excalibur is a holy elemental weapon. Now there's something I should mention, which is why Ash just died. Hellwyrm is capable of inflicting instant death with a 5% chance on its auto attack. This is a thing, unfortunately. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed the game up. I wish this freaking worm's face wasn't all up in me. Actually, it doesn't matter that we're stood on top of each other for this part because it doesn't cleave yet. So we'll just hang out and fight together. So, while Ash dies again, unfortunately, I'm gonna go ahead and open this up so I can detail in more specific terms what this fight is. So we've already said it has all level 3 magic, it has instant death on its auto attack. There's no way to make yourself immune to instant death. It's just a fact of life. Whoever's tanking is going to die repeatedly. Unless you have some god tier luck, anyway. But whoever's tanking is going to die repeatedly, so... By the way, we should probably dispel it. I should have mentioned that earlier, so let's go ahead and do that. I always forget to dispel things. But anyway, it has protect and stuff. You can dispel it. I don't think it'll recast it. Could be mistaken, but anyway. The first 9 bars of its health, all it does is physical attacks. I don't think it does any other ability besides physical attacks. The next 4 bars, it will be using elemental spells Stone Breath and Rake in addition to its normal attacks. The next 9 health bars after that, it starts using Invert as well as its additional things, which is good for MP but bad for potential death, so do bear that in mind. Penelo is apparently not the healer right now because Fran's doing all the work. The next 4 health bars after that, it will begin spamming Rake and nothing but Rake. So be prepared for that. This is Judgment, by the way. It's capable of inflicting stop, so be aware of that. Make yourself immune to stop if possible. Otherwise your party's dead. I'm pretty sure it... Oh, apparently we're not immune to stop. I'm pretty sure it's like a 30 or so % chance of stop. So you need to... Fran is attempting to correct this. There we go. You cannot put decoy on someone who is stopped, by the way. It's a weird thing about that, but... Stop hitting... No, you're hitting her, but hitting this way or whatever. So after it starts spamming Rake, it's 4 health bars of that, and then 4 health bars of spamming Stone Breath and nothing else. And then from there till it's dead, basically, it starts using Invert and Elemental Magic, and then right before it dies, it does everything but faster. Penelo actually died. That's unfortunate. It's okay, though. I wish this thing wasn't so big, but there's really no way around that, unfortunately. It's just a rather large creature. Can't really get a very good look at it either because it's freaking huge. I can look at Ash, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, camera. Basically just getting our buffs back up. But that's basically the whole fight. Obviously we're still working on the first 9 health bars because all it is doing is auto-attacking, so. Oddly enough, the safest point in this fight is towards the end when it's just spamming Rake. Rake is a cleave, and so is Stone Breath. I believe it's a cleave, it might not be. So do bear that in mind. However, Rake does not have that 5% chance of instantaneously killing whoever it's attacking, so you do have to bear that in mind. His auto attacks are surprisingly dangerous for someone who does so little damage on them. It's really just the fact that occasionally he kills who he's attacking is rather annoying. It essentially just wastes MP the entire time. Alright, so from here on, the fight itself is... Actually, you know what? I probably won't speed it up because the game itself has a speed up modifier, so we're just gonna roll through this entire fight together. Enjoy your stay, I guess. I don't have much to talk about, it's just Hellwyrm. This is the fight. At some point I will be changing Penello's weapon to a ranged weapon. In fact, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that now before I forget. The reason I want her to have a ranged weapon is so I don't need to worry too much about her, about her wandering off into the tank and getting cleaved by Stone Breath and stuff like that. So we'll just have her over here so that she can keep range. There is another thing to point out. Hellwyrm is susceptible to, here comes the magic spam, so we've passed the just melee attacks, so now he's going to be spamming a lot of magic. Which is actually much, much better. But anyway, like I was saying, he is actually susceptible to oil, so for instance, if I go in here and start casting oil, I can inflict him with oil, and then at this point you might notice both of them are casting Fire Aga for quite a lot of damage as well. Another thing you can do here is equip your healer with an opal ring so they don't need to worry about reflect. Cast reflect on your party members and then spam Fire Aga on your party members. This will be a triple hit for every cast of Fire Aga, which is by far the greatest amount of damage you can possibly apply to Hellwyrm without holy spam. In fact, for the sake of showing it, I'll go ahead and show you the damage that holy does here. It's a decent chunk, especially if you have the Holy Rod equipped, so 20k, not bad. Actually 30.1, or 31k it looked like there, but something else to bear in mind is if you are going to be spamming magic, you should be equipped with a staff of the appropriate element. In this version, the Staff of the Magi counts for that. Fran is not going to be using a staff, but in this version, Staff of the Magi will buff fire damage, but otherwise you would need a flame staff and fire-based equipment to buff it. But for instance, we can just give her that staff, and now instead of, what, 12k, she should be doing much more than that fairly consistently. But we simply wait now. Now on the plus side, if you are using this strategy, the people using Fire Aga on Hellwyrm will have unlimited MP because they gain more MP back from casting Fire Aga than they use casting it, which is a rather strange setup, but such is life. You know what, actually? Let's do this. Just out of curiosity to see what the damage is, let's get the Holy Rod on Penello here. I mean, she's gonna get in melee range and start beating it over the head as well, so. 38k from Holy. So 38k times 3 people, if you had enough people to actually be casting that, is extraordinarily good. Let's get over here so she can actually buff people, because she's too far away, apparently. So at this point, he should begin using Rake very frequently, I think. I actually lost count. No, this is where he starts using Invert, isn't it? Or is it? He used Rake immediately, so let's see. What's going on with Fran here? Because she's not... Oh, because Fire-Aga is above Chronosteer. Okay, let's fix that real quick. Otherwise, Penello's going to be stuck here trying to cast Decoy on someone who can't have Decoy. There we go. You don't actually need Bubble for this fight, unless you're a very low level. He doesn't do a huge amount of damage, so you don't need the Bubble, but it's a pretty good buffer to keep you alive. You know what, actually? I might set up Penello to just spam Holy, instead of attacking so much. It will delay her if she needs to cast, but it is a huge chunk of damage that she otherwise would not be applying, so... And it'll help her MP a little bit because she'll get MP back from casting it, I'm fairly sure. Never mind, it doesn't seem she gets MP back from casting. Eh, whatever, it'll be okay. So he's using Rake now. How many health bars have we gone through? I don't know, I've lost track. Let's just quadruple speed it. Here we go, boys. If you have elixirs, this is a reasonable time to use them to keep your MP up. Once you start choosing invert though, it's a little bit easier. If you want to let lure or decoy wear off so that your healer can get hit with invert, that's not a bad idea either. But this is basically what we're going to do. Does anyone else have Holy? I don't think... She definitely won't. No. I don't think anyone else does, so... We'll just let those two spam Fire-Aga and we can spam Holy. If you are doing this on the PS2 version of the game, you should not be using Holy because it fills the effect buffer. I forgot what the actual name of it is, which means you can't cast anything else while it's going off, so... On this version, it doesn't matter. We could cast 3 Holies back to back, or simultaneously, I should say, if we wanted to. As you can tell by the fact that people are still casting while she's using Holy, so... Let's move around the side here. Let's get Penello on the same side as Fran so that they can buff each other a little bit easier. There we go. So here's Stone Breath. I thought I made Ash immune to everything. Oh no, I have Opal Ring on her for some reason. I don't know why. Let's give her a ribbon so that she's immune to that Stone Breath. And Stop. That's probably why she's getting hit with Stop, because I forgot to give her a ribbon. Not very smart. It's okay. I'm going to use an elixir on Penello, because the only other time I'd use elixirs is for Yiazmat, and we'll be dealing with that at a different time anyway. Yiazmat is very similar to this fight, however, much stronger and much longer, rather unfortunately, in the fact that it has a boatload of health. There's the invert. It has a boatload of health, but you can also leave the arena to heal and buff yourself up, and then re-enter the arena without the boss healing itself as long as you're not gone for too long. So the boss has started spamming invert, so we should be within the 15 to 24 health bar range, so 9 health bars of this. I hope you're enjoying your stay. This is the entire fight. 47k from that Holy, by the way. Does she have any other Holy equipment on? No. Is that how that works? I never remember if the armor equipment buffs your elemental damage as well. I think it does, but I'm not sure. Ash died, rather unfortunately, so we have to get her buffed back up real quick. As quickly as possible, hopefully. I should probably have Lure or Decoy much earlier than the other buffs than I currently do, but that's okay. Go back to spamming Holy. It's using Judgment once again. I think it's every 5 health bars it does it. I'm actually not sure. But regardless, as long as you're immune to Stop, you should be fine from Judgment. If you aren't, people are going to get hit with Stop, and it's going to make it real hard to survive. It may be 100% chance, because it kept giving it to Ash, so... It seems likely that that's 100% chance. Anyway, this is the whole fight. It's going pretty well. Make sure, if you want to be safe, that you have 2 people capable of healing. She's too far away to decoy Ash, that's what's going on. Let's Move Ash over here real quick. Where am I? There I am. Make sure you have at least 2 people capable of healing, just in case you need a lot of healing output from the inverts or the rakes and stuff like that. He would stop using invert, that would be fantastic, but that's okay. You don't need 2 people capable of healing full time and not doing damage, that'll make the fight far too long, but 2 people capable of at least healing occasionally is very beneficial. Help. I need Penelo to stay within range of Ash to keep her buffed up, but not too close that she starts getting cleaved by Stone Breath, preferably. Now bear in mind we can tank Stone Breath, it's really not a problem to do so, but it's just extra damage that I don't want to deal with, so... You know what, actually? Oh god. Let's go on a bit of a wander so I can give you guys a better camera angle of what the hell's going on here. It's an interesting visual glitch while Holy is going off, because otherwise it doesn't do that, but apparently when Holy's going off you can see that thing through his head. So this is the Hellworm. It's huge. I gotta keep it within range so that everyone else can target it. It's a really cool looking enemy. In fact, I think Hellworm is probably the best looking enemy in this game by quite a bit. In terms of a wow, that looks really cool sorts of thing. Sort of thing, I should say. So we're down to, how many health bars is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 19 health bars, I think. Got quite a ways to go, but we're more than halfway through. We should be within the 25 to 34 range, I think. Not quite sure exactly, but something around there anyway. I'm trying to figure out where exactly we are. We should know exactly where we are once he starts spamming nothing but Rake, because that's a specific point in his health percentage that he actually starts doing that, so. I think it's 30% health, he starts spamming nothing but Rake. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that combat log and see what he's up to. He's still casting magics, which is fine. Whoa. In fact, everyone appears to have run out of, whoa, camera. Everyone appears to have run out of MP. Including Penelo, probably because she's still spamming Holy on the things. We should tell her to stop that. We're gonna lose a little bit of damage, but she really does need the MP. Fran also needs the MP, but she is currently just whittling away her MP stockpiles over there. That's a-okay. I do need to be wary of the fact that she won't be healing quite as much anymore though. At this point, I'm actually sort of tempted to dispel the boss to remove oil from it, or just use a handkerchief on it, I guess. So that they stop using fire so much. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. I can't target Fran because she's too far away. There we go. Let's throw a handkerchief at the Hellworm real quick so we can remove the oil from it. There we go. That'll make these two stop spamming Fire Auga quite so much. Our damage is going to drop way down because his defense is scaling as he loses health, I believe is how that works. Either way, his defense goes up pretty high by the end of the fight anyway. So our damage is going to be way down, but we are at the phase in the fight where he is now spamming Rake, and this is the phase in the fight where I recommend having 2 healers if possible. Let's get Fran a little bit closer so she can help out where needed. Alright. So this should be his 30%, or his last 30% of his health. He still has like 20 health, he's not 20, like 15 health bars though, so he's got too much health, man. Let's go ahead and speed the game up because this phase in terms of damage output is the highest damage output the fight will be until the very end of the fight. because Rake does a lot of damage. It has 0 charge time. I think it just has 0. If it's not 0, oh god, pretty close to 0. Which means essentially every second of the fight, whoever is currently tanking is going to be taking a decent chunk of damage, so you gotta be wary of that. We're just gonna go ahead and speed it up, put it back on quad speed. Wish the camera would stop doing that. And just beat the dickens out of it until it stops using Rake. When it stops using Rake, it should start spamming out Stone Breath, which is beneficial to us because we are immune to stone and it does slightly less damage than Rake does. We do have to whittle down its health though. Please stop hitting me. She does actually have a shield, and you know what, actually I just remembered. Because we're doing physical attacks, we should really be using Excalibur. There we go. That'll help our damage output a little bit here. I'm telling you, this entire phase is just Rake spam. So here's real-time Rake spam, so you guys can get a feel for it. Basically, every second on the dot, it should be using Rake. As you can see, it's actually quite a bit of damage output going out from it. Let me grab Penelo real quick. I'm gonna run all the way around the boss so that Penelo's on the same side as Fran again. I meant to correct that earlier, but I got distracted. This is a long fight, have I mentioned that? Also, bear in mind when thinking about this fight, that this fight was on the PS2 version, the original PS2 version, which had no means of fast forwarding the game. So this is the speed you would have to do the entire Hellworm, and Yiazmat fight. So Yiazmat, for a lot of people, ended up being like a 5 or 6 hour long fight before you managed to kill it. It's kind of ridiculous. But regardless, we have the ability to fast forward the game, so we will be employing that. So he should be spamming out Stone Breath with the CT0 modifier. He appears to be doing so. He's rather adamant about Stone Breath. If you are not immune to Petrify, now is a good time to become immune to Petrify, because otherwise you're going to have to be constantly Asuneing that. Shortly after it starts spamming out Stone Breath, because this phase doesn't last terribly long, I think it's only 4 health bars. Which sounds like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not terribly long. But once it finishes spamming out Stone Breath, it'll start using Invert and Elemental Magic instead, which is actually rather dangerous, but it will give your MP back to whoever gets hit with Invert. Which I wish was Fran, but I'm going to keep the double healer tank meta going on here. Because it's generally the safest bet is to have Lure on someone so that they're taking the primary damage. Camera, whoa. The camera's doing that because it's trying to get on top of Hellworm, by the way. Just so that everyone's on the same page, that's what's happening. When it turns, the camera's trying to get on top of Hellworm's head. Which the game isn't really capable of putting the camera up there, so it just kind of points straight down. A rather awkward camera angle. Surprised it didn't do it there, but that's alright. So soon, it should be about here, after this judgment, it should start using Invert and Magic spells. And I think nothing else. Now I should point out, all of the stat decreasing abilities work on Hellworm and Yiazmat. I will mention this in the Yiazmat video as well. Actually, he's critical, so he should... Yeah. He should have increased stats now, so this is something to be careful about. We actually let Ash die, that's disappointing. Oh hey, free MP, thanks. He's like actually stopped, though. I can't see because your head is too big, my friend. But all of these stat decreasing capabilities do work on Hellworm. It is recommended that you take advantage of these stat decreasing abilities because it makes the fight a lot easier. It also decreases the damage output of Hellworm. I'm not using it on Hellworm just because I am over leveled and I do want to show you the whole fight and its raw damage output. I will, however, be using the stat decreasing abilities on Yiazmat because for God's sake, you should really be doing that. There's really no reason not to be doing that. For this point in the fight, if you are doing it at low level, for instance 55, I just hit the table, don't mind that. For instance, if you're doing it at 55, at this point, you will want to slow down the game, and every time it says something in the combat log, you will need to switch your equipment. For instance, let's go ahead and watch it here. It's using Firaga. You would hit the menu, go into your equipment for whoever got hit with invert if you're using the lure decoy method, because they're probably the one going to be getting hit anyway with autos and stuff. Go in there, change their equipment to something that absorbs or nullifies the element that it is currently casting so that you don't need to worry about the damage from it. And by doing this, you don't actually need to worry about invert either, because invert is irrelevant if the damage immediately after invert is going to heal you instead. Oh my god, camera. You know what, Ash, come here. I'm just gonna move Ash a little closer so that she can get the casts from everyone else off. Because my camera is currently not cooperating. There's his head and all of its detailed glory, as you can see. I wish it would stop. We are getting our MP back because he is switching his target of invert, which is okay. Go ahead and speed it up. So it's almost dead. Just let the game run at normal speed while we slowly kill Hellworm here. Come on, Penelo, you gonna get the final blow? She's trying. Hey, she got it. We got 117,000 gil because of cat earhood. There you go. Hellworm has been defeated. I'll have information for those of you who are still here. There'll be detailed information in the description and stuff about Hellworm, but you should come to expect that at this point because I've been doing that with all of my videos. Although this being a super boss, there will be slightly more detailed information than usual because it is a super boss after all. But anyway, before you leave this area, you should probably pick up the loot around here. I don't think there's anything actually particularly good in this room, but there's no reason not to pick up the treasure in here, because it's highly unlikely you'll ever come back here for any reason whatsoever, so. Come on, I'm pretty sure there's something else in here, right? Ah, there it is. The draw distance is actually shorter than the size of this room, somewhat comically enough. So if you're in one corner, you can't actually see a treasure chest in the other corner because the room is too large, but that's okay. So there you go, there's the Hellworm video. I should have probably mentioned that there's nothing terribly important to steal from it, so you don't need to worry about that, but there's also really not much of a reward from it. The only reward you get is access to Yiazmat, and like 50,000 gil, which isn't particularly that big of a deal because I have 6.5 million, but regardless, that's the Hellworm video. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.